students. Today we are going to read another and the last poem, The Solitary Reaper. It was written by William Wordsworth, the harbinger of romantic movement in English poetry, English literature. This poem was also one of the collection Lyrical Ballads, which was published in 1798, and this poem was a kind of real inspiration that while Wordsworth had stayed in a village in Scotland with his sister Dorothy, then he has witnessed this kind of scene. In this poem, the poet talks about a girl who is reaping the crops, and she is all alone in her fields, and she is singing a sorrowful or a sad kind of song, a melancholy song she is singing. And though because Wordsworth was unable to comprehend what she was singing, he was unable to understand the wordings of the song, but still the expression, the tone, and the mood which was being created by the poem makes Wordsworth attractive towards that girl or that song, and he writes this poem. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary highland lass, reaping and singing by herself, stop here or gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with the sound. Now, in the very first opening stanza, Wordsworth narrates, or he presents before us the picture of that girl who is reaping the crops in her fields all alone. He says, behold her, see her, look at her, single in the field. She is solitary, she is single, she is all alone in the field. Yon means that, yonder, that solitary, that alone, highland lass means Scotland girl, Scotch girl, he is talking about, reaping and singing by herself. She is reaping the crops and is singing a song all alone by herself. Means no one is there. She is singing it for no one. She is singing it for herself, just to amuse herself, just to entertain herself. She is singing that song. And the very first effect of the song is so powerful that the poet, he says that stop here or gently pass. Means the very first effect, that stop here, listen to that song, enjoy the music, enjoy the sound, enjoy the tone, enjoy the effect, or gently pass without disturbing her. It's up to you whether you want to listen it, stay here. If you don't want to listen, pass gently without disturbing the girl, without disturbing the flow of her song. Alone she cuts and binds the grain. All alone, she is reaping the crop, she is cutting it, and she is binding it in sheaves, and sings a melancholy strain. And she is singing a melancholy song, means a sorrowful song, a sad song, means the theme of that song, it appears towards what is some sorrowful theme, is some sad theme she is singing. Oh, listen. And he says, listen, why should pass? He proposes this thing that the song is so sweet that we should listen it, for the vale profound, for the deep, wide valley, the whole valley is overflowing with the sound of her song. The effect of that song is so overpowering that it has filled the whole deep and wide valley with its sound. No nightingale did ever chaunt more welcome notes to weary band of travellers in sub-sandy haunt among Arabian saints. He says the sound of the music, the sweetness of that song, the sweetness of the voice of that girl is so sweet that no nightingale. To the nightingale, there was a poem written by Yeats. In that poem, we have heard the sweetness, we have heard the praises of the sweetness of nightingale, the bird's song. But he says the kind of sweetness, the kind of lovely voice in which that girl is singing, it is even more lovelier, even more soothing, even more calmer, even more enchanting than a nightingale who might have been singing to the weary travelers among Arabian sands in some shady haunt, in some shady oasis. Means, look at the comparison which Wordsworth is making, that someone who has traveled among the Arabian sands, among the Arabian deserts, and if he finds some shady groove, if he finds some shady oasis to stay, to take some rest, they are weary travelers, and then when they hear the sound of the nightingale, the song of the nightingale, then it is obviously very, very soothing to them. It is very entertaining to them. It's like some magic words to them. But this girl's song is even more lovelier, even more entertaining than the nightingale. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. And he says that perhaps will no one tell me that what she is singing? Because the words, what she is singing, are incomprehensible to Wordsworth. He is unable to understand the language. He is unable to understand the words, that what is the theme, what is the subject matter of that song. So, but because there is no one else, then the girl, so he cannot ask anybody that what she is singing. So he says that will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps. So he makes a guess that perhaps she might be singing those plaintive numbers, those sad words which are flowing from her mouth. They might be for some old, unhappy, far off things. I mean, some very old and unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. Or she might be singing about some battles which have happened, which have taken place quite long ago. Or is it some more humble lay familiar matter of today? Or perhaps she might be talking, see that song, that humble lay means song, that humble song of her might be related to some matter of present, some familiar matter of today. Means there are two options. Huh? Either she is singing of some past sorrow, of some past happening which has taken place, or she might be singing of some present issue, some present happening, some natural sorrow, loss, or pain that has been and may be again. She might be singing of some natural sorrow, some natural sadness, some natural pain, some natural loss, which might have happened and which might happen again. Means which is forever. Such kind of song, because this is quite obvious. This is quite a natural thing, that when we feel the sadness, when we feel the happiness of the singer or of that song, when we find that thing somewhat attached to us. Why the songs have universal appeal? Because those emotions, those sorrows, those losses, those pains, they seem related to us also. They have happened in the past and they might happen to anybody in the present also, and that's why they have a universal appeal. And that's what William Wordsworth, the poet, is talking about, that the song, the words, the cause of sorrow of which the girl was singing was some old happening, but it might happen again. Means it is some universal sorrow, it is some universal loss, it is some universal pain. What is the theme? The maiden, whatever the theme, the maiden sang as if her song could have no ending. I saw her singing at her work and over the sickle bending. I listened, motionless and still, and as I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore long after it was heard no more. But the writer, the poet, he says that whatever the theme, I don't know the theme of that song. What was the theme of that song? What was the subject matter of the song? On which issue, on which topic, on which sorrow, on which loss, on which pain the girl was singing? I don't know. But to me, it seemed as if her song could have no ending. Means that song, she could sing it over and over for a long and long times, for times unending. She could sing it for a permanent time. I saw her singing at her work and bend over her sickle. I have seen that she is singing during her work and she is bending over her sickle to cut the crops. I listened motionless and still, and the effect of that song is so strong upon me that I listened to it, standing there without moving, motionless and still. And as afterwards, when I mounted up the hill, the music in my heart I bore. The effect of that music, the effect of that song was so strong upon me that even when I have crossed that valley, even when I have climbed up the mountain, the music was uh, vibrating in my heart. It was still echoing in my heart long after it was heard no more. Means when I have reached to a very far off distance from that place, even then that song was being heard in my heart. So this is it. The poem sings of the beauty of that song, the melody of that song, the tone of that song, the appeal of that song which the poet has felt, and how he liked and how he loved that song. Thank you.